Welcome to the world of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss new stories. Enjoy the listening. Lucas crouched behind a crumbling concrete barrier, his muscles coiled tight as he scanned the desolate cityscape. 15 years in this hellhole had honed his senses to razor sharpness. Every shadow, every whisper of wind could spell danger. A blinding flash lit up the night sky. Lucas squinted, his heart rate spiking. A new inmate transport. He'd seen dozens over the years, but something about this one felt different. The gleaming metal pod touched down amidst a swirl of dust. Robot guards flanked it, their weapons at the ready. Lucas leaned forward, curiosity overriding caution. The pod's door hissed open. A figure emerged, distinctly feminine, with curves that caught Lucas off guard. But it was her skin that made his breath catch. Emerald green, gleaming like polished jade in the harsh floodlights. "Holy shit," he breathed. The alien woman, because that's what she had to be, stood tall, unflinching as the robot guards trained their weapons on her. Her eyes blazed with an inner light, sweeping across the assembled forces. To Lucas's amazement, the robots actually took a step back. He'd never seen the guards react like that to anyone. Who the hell was this woman? As if sensing his scrutiny, her gaze snapped to his hiding spot. Lucas froze, his heart thundering. Those eyes, they seemed to pierce right through him, awakening something primal he'd long thought dead. A low whistle cut through the tense silence. Well, looks like we got ourselves some fresh meat, boys." Lucas tore his gaze away from the alien woman. A gang of inmates had emerged from the shadows, eyeing the newcomer with predatory grins. He recognized their leader, Cruel, a hulking brute with filed teeth and a reputation for cruelty. The alien woman didn't flinch as Cruel's gang circled her. If anything, a small smile played at the corners of her mouth. "Now ain't you a pretty little thing?" Cruel leered. "How about you come with us? We'll show you how we welcome new fish round here." "I'd rather not," the woman replied, her voice cool and melodious. "I suggest you leave, now." Cruel's gang burst into raucous laughter. "Oh, she's got spirit. I like that. Gonna be fun breaking you in, sweetheart." He reached for her arm. In a blur of motion too fast for Lucas to follow, Cruel was suddenly on his knees, howling in agony. The alien woman stood over him, her expression unchanged. "I warned you," she said simply. Cruel's gang charged. Lucas found himself moving before he could think, vaulting over his cover and racing toward the fray. He didn't know why he was risking his neck for a stranger, but something compelled him forward. He reached the first attacker in seconds, his fist connecting with bone-shattering force. The man crumpled without a sound. Lucas spun, his leg sweeping another off his feet. A flash of green caught his eye. The alien woman moved with impossible grace, her strikes precise and devastatingly effective. Together, they made short work of Cruel's gang. As the dust settled, Lucas found himself face to face with the enigmatic newcomer. Up close, her skin was even more mesmerizing, tiny scales catching the light like countless emeralds. "That was impressive," she said, her glowing eyes appraising him with newfound interest. "I'm Taya." "Lucas," he managed, trying to ignore the way his pulse quickened under her gaze. "Well, Lucas." Taya's lips curved into a smile that was equal parts alluring and dangerous. "I think you and I need to talk." Before he could respond, alarms blared across the compound. Robot guards were converging on their position. "Shit," Lucas growled. "We need to move. Now." Without waiting for her response, he grabbed Taya's hand. Her skin was surprisingly warm, sending an electric jolt up his arm. He pushed the feeling aside, focusing on survival. "This way," he hissed, pulling her toward a concealed entrance to the tunnels beneath the city. As they ran, Lucas's mind raced. Who was this woman? Why did the guards seem afraid of her? And why the hell did he feel so drawn to her? They reached the hidden door just as energy bolts began sizzling past their heads. Lucas punched in the access code with practiced speed, shoving Taya through before following and sealing the entrance behind them. Darkness enveloped them. Lucas fumbled for the battered flashlight he kept in his pocket, flicking it on. The beam illuminated Taya's face, her eyes glowing even brighter in the gloom. "So," she said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "Do you make a habit of rescuing dangerous alien women?" Lucas snorted. "Lady, I've been locked up on this rock since I was 5. You're the first alien anything I've rescued." "Is that so?" Taya cocked her head, studying him. "Then why did you intervene?" He shrugged, uncomfortable under her scrutiny. "Seemed like the right thing to do. Besides, I've never seen anyone make the robot guards nervous before. Figured you might be worth knowing." "Perceptive," Taya nodded. "I may have a reputation that precedes me." "Yeah? What kind of reputation?" Her smile turned predatory. "Let's just say I'm considered the most dangerous being in the galaxy." Lucas barked out a laugh. "Right. And I'm the long-lost heir to Earth's throne. You don't believe me?" Taya raised an eyebrow. "Lady, I've seen some nasty pieces of work in this place, but the most dangerous being in the galaxy? That's a bit much." Taya's eyes flashed, and suddenly Lucas found himself pinned against the tunnel wall, her face inches from his. He hadn't even seen her move. "I've toppled empires with a whisper," she breathed, her voice low and hypnotic. "I know secrets that would shatter worlds. The mere mention of my name sends the most hardened criminals fleeing in terror." Lucas swallowed hard, his body hyper-aware of her proximity. "Okay," he managed. "I'm impressed. Mind letting me go now?" To his surprise, Taya laughed, releasing him. "You're either very brave or very foolish, Lucas. I haven't decided which yet." He rubbed his wrists, trying to ignore the lingering warmth where she touched him. "How about we settle on cautiously curious? So, what's a galaxy-class menace like you doing in a dump like this?" "I knew too much," Taya said simply. "The powers that be decided it was safer to lock me away than risk what I might reveal." Lucas whistled low. "Must be some serious dirt you've got. You have no idea." Her expression turned thoughtful. "Tell me, Lucas, have you ever considered escaping this prison planet?" He snorted. "Only every day for the past 15 years. But it's impossible. The whole planet's one big death trap for anyone who tries." Taya's smile widened, a mischievous glint in her eye. "What if I told you I know a way? A secret the guards don't even know about?" Lucas's heart began to race. "I'd say you're either crazy or the answer to my prayers." "Perhaps a bit of both," Taya laughed. She extended her hand. "What do you say, Lucas? Care to join forces with the most dangerous woman in the galaxy?" He hesitated for a moment, every survival instinct screaming at him not to trust her. But as he looked into those glowing eyes, he realized he'd already made his decision. Lucas took her hand, marveling again at the warmth of her skin. "All right, Taya, I'm in. But if this is some kind of trick—" "No tricks," she assured him. "Just the chance at freedom, and perhaps," her gaze raked over him appreciatively, "a bit of fun along the way." Lucas felt heat rise to his cheeks. "I, don't have much experience with alien biology." Taya's laugh echoed through the tunnel. "Oh, I think you'll find we're more compatible than you might expect. But first," her expression turned serious, "we have work to do." As they moved deeper into the tunnels, Lucas's mind whirled. He'd spent so long just trying to survive, the idea of escape seemed almost unreal. Yet here he was, following this enigmatic, dangerous, infuriatingly attractive alien woman into the unknown. For the first time in years, Lucas felt something he'd almost forgotten: hope. "So," he ventured as they navigated the maze-like passages. Most dangerous being in the galaxy, huh? Got any party tricks to back that up? Taya smirked. Fishing for information already? Smart. But a girl has to keep some secrets. Can't blame a guy for trying, Lucas grinned. Though I gotta say, the whole green skin thing, definitely working for you. Is that so? Taya's eyes sparkled with amusement. And here I thought Earthlings preferred their women less chlorophyllic. Lucas shrugged, surprised by his own boldness. What can I say? I'm open-minded. Their banter was interrupted by a distant rumble. Lucas tensed, recognizing the sound of approaching hover tanks. Looks like the welcome party's arrived, he muttered. We need to move faster. Taya nodded, her playful demeanor vanishing. Lead the way. I trust you know these tunnels well? Like the back of my hand, Lucas confirmed. There's a safe house not far from here. We can lay low, plan our next move. As they hurried through the darkened passages, Lucas found himself hyper-aware of Taya's presence. The way she moved with fluid grace, the subtle scent that clung to her skin, something alien yet intoxicating. Focus, he chided himself. She's the most dangerous being in the galaxy, remember? Not some green-skinned fantasy come to life. They reached the safe house, a long-abandoned maintenance room Lucas had fortified over the years. He ushered Taya inside, quickly securing the heavy door behind them. Home sweet home, he said, gesturing to the sparse furnishings. It's not much, but it's off the guard's radar. Taya explored the small space, her fingers trailing over the collection of scavenged tech and supplies Lucas had accumulated. Impressive, she murmured. You've survived here for how long? 15 years, Lucas replied, unable to keep the bitterness from his voice. Shipped here when I was barely more than a kid. Taya's expression softened. That must have been difficult. Lucas shrugged, uncomfortable with her sympathy. You learn to adapt, or you die. Simple as that. And yet, you've done more than merely adapt, Taya observed. You've thrived. The strength you displayed earlier, it's not natural for humans, is it? He hesitated, weighing how much to reveal. Let's just say this planet has a way of changing people, if you survive long enough. Taya nodded, accepting his evasion. Well then, Lucas the survivor, shall we discuss our escape plan? As they began to strategize, Lucas found himself drawn into Taya's brilliance. Her mind was as sharp as a laser, dissecting problems and proposing solutions with dizzying speed. There's an old spaceport on the far side of the wastelands, Lucas explained, pointing to a crude map he'd sketched. Rumor has it there might be a ship or two still intact, but getting there is a suicide mission, Taya finished, unless we had a way to neutralize the guard patrols and defense systems. Lucas raised an eyebrow. You got an EMP hidden away somewhere I don't know about. Taya's smile turned cryptic. Something like that, but it will require perfect timing and… She hesitated. A significant amount of trust between us. Trust, huh? Lucas leaned back, studying her. That's in pretty short supply around here. I'm aware, Taya said softly, but I believe you and I could be beneficial to each other, Lucas, in more ways than one. The air between them seemed to crackle with tension. Lucas found himself leaning closer, drawn in by those mesmerizing eyes. A sudden explosion rocked the safe house, sending them both sprawling. Alarms blared and the sound of heavy footsteps echoed through the tunnels. Shit, Lucas cursed, scrambling to his feet. They must have tracked us somehow. Taya was already moving, gathering supplies with startling efficiency. It seems our timetable has been accelerated. Are you ready to trust me, Lucas? He met her gaze, seeing the challenge there. In that moment, he made his choice. Lead the way, Galaxy's most dangerous woman, he grinned, adrenaline surging. Let's see if you live up to the hype. As they prepared to face whatever waited beyond the door, Lucas realized something. For the first time in 15 years, he felt truly alive. The hunt was on, and he couldn't wait to see where this green-skinned enigma would lead him. Lucas's heart pounded as he and Taya raced through the twisting tunnels. The blare of alarms grew fainter, but he knew they weren't safe yet. Nothing was ever truly safe on this godforsaken rock. "This way," he hissed, pulling Taya down a narrow passage. The smell of damp earth and decay filled his nostrils, achingly familiar after all these years. They emerged into a vast cavern, its ceiling lost in darkness. Rusted machinery loomed like sleeping giants. "What is this place?" Taya whispered, her glowing eyes wide with wonder. "Old mining operation," Lucas explained, catching his breath. "Abandoned long before this place became a prison. We should be safe here for a while." Taya nodded, her emerald skin shimmering in the dim light. "Then let's use this time wisely. We need a plan." Lucas couldn't help but grin. "Lady, I've been planning an escape since I was 5, but I'm all ears if the galaxy's most dangerous woman has some ideas." Taya's lips curved into a smirk. "Oh, I have ideas. But first," her expression grew serious, "there's something you should know about me." Lucas raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "More dangerous than being the most wanted criminal in the universe?" "Perhaps," Taya said softly. "I see things, glimpses of possible futures." Lucas blinked, processing her words. "You're telling me you can see the future?" "Not exactly," Taya sighed. "It's more potential outcomes, and they're not always clear or accurate." "Huh?" Lucas mused. "That's convenient. Why tell me this now?" Taya's gaze met his, intense and searching. "Because if we're going to escape this hell, we need to trust each other. Completely." Lucas felt a warmth bloom in his chest, unfamiliar after years of isolation. He pushed it aside, focusing on practicality. "All right, fortune teller, what do your visions say about our chances?" Taya's brow furrowed in concentration. "I see a path through the wastelands, but it's treacherous, guarded by—" She trailed off, her eyes widening in what Lucas recognized as fear. Coming from the most dangerous woman in the galaxy, that was unsettling. "Guarded by what?" he pressed. Taya shook her head. "It's unclear, but whatever it is, it's unlike anything I've encountered before." Lucas nodded grimly. "Sounds about right for this place. So, wastelands it is. We'll need supplies." They spent the next hours planning, Taya's strategic brilliance meshing seamlessly with Lucas's hard-earned survival knowledge. As they worked, Lucas found himself stealing glances at his unlikely companion. The way her eyes lit up when she had an idea, the graceful movement of her hands as she sketched out plans. "Focus," he chided himself. "She's still the most dangerous being in the galaxy, no matter how captivating she might be." Days passed as they gathered supplies and prepared for their journey. Lucas led Taya through the labyrinth of tunnels he'd mapped over the years, scavenging what they needed. It was during one such expedition that disaster struck. They'd located a cache of medical supplies in an abandoned infirmary. As Lucas reached for a bottle of antiseptic, the floor beneath them groaned. "Taya, move!" he shouted, lunging for her. But it was too late. The floor collapsed, sending them plummeting into darkness. Lucas's enhanced reflexes kicked in. He twisted in midair, wrapping his body around Taya to shield her from impact. They hit water with bone-jarring force. Lucas's vision swam, pain lancing through his body. But Taya's weight in his arms spurred him to action. He kicked hard, propelling them to the surface. They emerged, gasping, in an underground river. The current swept them along, jagged rocks threatening at every turn. "Hold on!" Lucas yelled, maneuvering them through the deadly obstacles. His muscles screamed with exertion, but he refused to let go. Finally, mercifully, the river slowed. Lucas dragged them onto a rocky shore, collapsing in exhaustion. "Are you all right?" he managed between ragged breaths. Taya nodded, her usual composure shaken. "Thanks to you. That was impressive." Lucas shrugged, wincing at the movement. "Just did what I had to." Taya's eyes narrowed, studying him intently. "No, what you did wasn't normal, even for a human in peak condition. You're stronger than you let on." Lucas looked away, uncomfortable under her scrutiny. "Yeah, well, this planet has a way of changing people." "Lucas." Taya's voice was gentle but insistent. "What happened to you here?" He sighed, knowing he owed her the truth. "I was just a kid when they dumped me here. Wouldn't have lasted a week if something hadn't changed." Lucas flexed his hand, remembering. "It started small. Faster reflexes, sharper senses, then strength beyond anything I thought possible. I don't know if it was something in the air, the water, or if this hellhole just forged me into something new." Taya listened intently, her expression unreadable. When he finished, she reached out, her fingers tracing the scars on his arm. Lucas shivered at her touch. "You've suffered much," she said softly, "yet you've become something extraordinary." Their eyes met, and suddenly the air between them felt charged. Lucas became acutely aware of their proximity, of the way Taya's wet clothes clung to her curves. "We should, find shelter," he stammered, breaking the moment. "Get dry before hypothermia sets in." Taya nodded, a hint of amusement in her eyes. "Lead the way, my extraordinary human." They found a small cave, mercifully dry. As night fell, they huddled close for warmth. Lucas tried to ignore the softness of Taya's skin against his, the intoxicating scent that clung to her. "Lucas," Taya murmured, her breath warm against his neck. "I've been wondering something." "Yeah?" he managed, his voice rough. "Your species reproduces sexually, correct?" Lucas choked, caught off guard. Yeah. Why do you ask?" Taya's fingers traced lazy patterns on his chest. "Merely curious. My people are quite different in that regard." "Different how?" Lucas asked, genuinely intrigued despite his discomfort. "We reproduce through a process of genetic recombination," Taya explained. "No physical contact required." Lucas digested this information. "Huh, sounds efficient." Taya chuckled, the sound sending shivers down his spine. "Efficient, yes, but from what I understand, far less enjoyable than your method." Lucas swallowed hard. "Yeah, it's got its perks." "I see," Taya purred, her hand sliding lower. "Perhaps you could demonstrate sometime." Lucas hesitated for a moment, but the look in her glowing eyes left little doubt. "Are you sure?" he asked, voice thick with desire. Taya nodded, lips curving into a mischievous smile. "Show me." Their lips met in a hungry kiss, and the connection between them flared into something electric. Taya's body responded with a mix of surprise and fascination as Lucas explored her with tender, deliberate movements. The intensity of human intimacy was unlike anything she had ever experienced, far more tactile and emotional than what she was used to. Her breath hitched, body trembling with every new sensation. "This is incredible," she gasped. "I never imagined it would feel like this." Lucas smiled against her skin. "It's just the beginning." But as their intimacy reached its peak, Taya's body reacted in ways neither of them expected. Waves of pleasure overwhelmed her, and her glowing eyes widened in shock. Just as she let out a gasp, her body tensed, not from ecstasy but alarm. Suddenly Taya sat up, muscles rigid, her eyes wide with fear. "Wait, something's wrong," she whispered, voice trembling. What is it? Lucas asked, instantly alert. A vision, Taya whispered. We need to move. Now. They barely made it out of the cave before the ceiling collapsed. As they caught their breath, Lucas stared at Taya in awe. Okay, he admitted. That future-seeing thing? Pretty damn handy. Taya managed a weak smile. It has its uses, though I wish... She trailed off, her expression troubled. Wish what? Lucas pressed. Taya shook her head. It's nothing. We should keep moving. As they continued their journey, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that Taya was holding something back. But he trusted her, more than he trusted anyone in years. They reached the edge of the wastelands as dawn broke. A sea of twisted metal and toxic sludge stretched as far as the eye could see. Well, Lucas grimaced. Home, sweet home. Taya's eyes scanned the horizon. The path I saw, it leads through there. She pointed to a particularly nasty-looking section of the wasteland. Lucas nodded grimly. Of course it does. Any idea what's guarding it? Taya's expression darkened. Nothing good, but we have no choice. They set out, picking their way through the treacherous landscape. Lucas marveled at Taya's agility. She moved with a grace that seemed impossible in such terrain. As they navigated a field of rusted machinery, a metallic screech split the air. Lucas whirled, his eyes widening in horror. A monstrous creature emerged from the wreckage. It was a nightmarish fusion of flesh and machine, its eyes glowing with murderous intent. Run! Lucas yelled, shoving Taya ahead of him. They sprinted through the debris, the creature's thunderous footsteps close behind. Lucas's mind raced, searching for a way out. There! Taya pointed to a narrow crevice in a towering pile of scrap. They dove through just as the creature's massive claws swiped at them. Lucas grunted in pain as jagged metal tore into his side. Lucas! Taya's voice was filled with concern. I'm fine, he gritted out. Keep moving. They squeezed through the gap, emerging on the other side. The creature roared in frustration, unable to follow. Lucas sagged against a twisted girder, his vision swimming. He looked down to see blood seeping through his tattered shirt. Shit, he muttered. Taya was at his side in an instant, her cool hands probing the wound. This is bad. We need to stop the bleeding. Lucas nodded weakly. My pack. There's a med kit. As Taya worked to patch him up, Lucas drifted in and out of consciousness. He became aware of her voice, urgent and afraid. Stay with me, Lucas, she pleaded. I can't do this without you. He forced his eyes open, meeting her gaze. Thought you were the most dangerous woman in the galaxy, he managed a weak grin. Taya's laugh was tinged with relief. Even the most dangerous need a partner sometimes. As she finished bandaging his wound, her fingers lingered on his skin. Lucas caught her hand, squeezing gently. Thanks, he said softly. Taya's eyes shimmered with an emotion Lucas couldn't quite name. We should rest, she said. You need to regain your strength. They found shelter in the hollowed-out remains of an old transport. As night fell, Lucas drifted in and out of feverish dreams. He became aware of Taya's presence, her cool hand on his forehead. You're so warm, she murmured, fascination in her voice. Lucas managed a weak chuckle. That's humans for you, walking furnaces. Taya's fingers traced the contours of his face. It's pleasant, she admitted. My people are much cooler to the touch. Guess that makes me pretty hot stuff, huh? Lucas quipped, emboldened by delirium. Taya's laughter was like music. Indeed, though I'm beginning to think your terrible jokes might be the most dangerous thing about you. As Lucas's fever broke, he found himself drawn into conversation with Taya. They swapped stories of their vastly different lives, finding unexpected common ground. So, your people really grow babies in tanks? Lucas asked, fascinated. Taya nodded. It's considered the most efficient method, though I must admit your way seems intriguing. Lucas felt heat rise to his cheeks. Yeah, well, it's got its moments. As dawn approached, Taya grew quiet, her expression troubled. What is it? Lucas asked, concern creeping into his voice. Taya hesitated. I've been having visions of our escape. Lucas sat up straighter. That's good, right? Yes, but Taya's eyes met his, filled with anguish. In every version I see, one of us doesn't make it. Lucas's blood ran cold. What do you mean? Taya's voice trembled. I see us reaching the portal, but for it to activate, a sacrifice is required. Silence stretched between them, heavy with implications. Finally, Lucas spoke. Well, looks like we'll just have to prove your vision's wrong. Taya's eyes widened in surprise. You're not angry that I kept this from you? Lucas shrugged. Figure you had your reasons. Besides, he grinned, I've never been one to believe in destiny. We make our own fate. Taya's relief was palpable. She leaned in, her lips brushing his cheek. Thank you, she whispered. As they prepared to continue their journey, Lucas felt a renewed sense of purpose. He'd spent 15 years surviving this hellhole. Now, with Taya by his side, he was ready to do more than just survive. They were going to escape, together, and to hell with any vision that said otherwise. The wasteland stretched before them, a vast expanse of twisted metal and toxic sludge. Lucas squinted against the harsh light, his hand instinctively reaching for Taya's. Her emerald skin was warm against his palm, a stark contrast to the desolation surrounding them. You sure about this? He asked, unable to keep the doubt from his voice. Taya's glowing eyes met his, determination etched in every line of her face. As sure as I can be, the portal lies beyond that ridge. Lucas nodded, steeling himself. Then let's not keep freedom waiting. They set out across the treacherous terrain, every step a potential disaster. Lucas marveled at Taya's agility. She moved with a grace that seemed impossible in such a hellscape. His own enhanced reflexes were pushed to their limit, dodging unstable debris and pockets of noxious gas. As they climbed a hill of compacted trash, a distant rumble made Lucas freeze. You hear that? He hissed. Taya cocked her head, her eyes widening. Guards. They must have picked up our trail. Lucas cursed under his breath. How long? Minutes, at most, Taya replied, her voice tight with tension. They redoubled their pace, caution abandoned in favor of speed. Lucas's muscles burned with exertion, but he pushed through the pain. Freedom was so close he could almost taste it. The ridge Taya had pointed out loomed before them, a jagged silhouette against the poisonous sky. As they crested the top, Lucas's breath caught in his throat. Below them sprawled the ruins of an ancient city, its crumbling towers reaching toward the heavens like skeletal fingers. And at its heart, pulsing with an otherworldly energy, stood the portal. Holy shit, Lucas breathed. It's real. Taya's hand tightened on his. Did you doubt me? He managed a grin, despite the gravity of the situation. Never. Just seeing it makes it all feel real, you know? Before Taya could respond, the air was split by the scream of engines. Guard ships appeared on the horizon, closing fast. Run! Lucas yelled, pulling Taya toward the ruins. They sprinted down the slope, debris shifting treacherously beneath their feet. Energy bolts sizzled past, leaving scorched craters in their wake. Lucas's enhanced senses went into overdrive. He guided them through the maze of fallen buildings, always one step ahead of their pursuers. Taya matched him stride for stride, her face a mask of fierce concentration. Finally, they burst into the central plaza. The portal loomed before them, a shimmering vortex of energy suspended between two massive pylons. Now what? Lucas panted, scanning for approaching guards. Taya approached the base of the portal, her hands hovering over an ancient control panel. "It needs power," she muttered. "Massive amounts of energy to stabilize the wormhole." Lucas's mind raced. The guards' ships. If we could redirect their power. Taya shook her head. "Not enough. It needs life force, raw biological energy." The implications hit Lucas like a punch to the gut. "You mean a sacrifice," Taya finished, her voice barely above a whisper. For a moment, the chaos around them faded away. Lucas met Taya's gaze, seeing the anguish there. He knew what he had to do. "I'll do it," he said, his voice steady despite the fear churning in his gut. Taya's eyes widened in horror. "Lucas, no! I can't let you." "I've never had a choice in this life," Lucas cut her off, echoing her earlier vision. "Now, I'm choosing you." He stepped toward the portal, but Taya's hand on his arm stopped him. "Wait," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "There might be another way." Lucas raised an eyebrow, hope warring with skepticism. "I'm all ears, Galaxy's most dangerous woman." Taya's lips quirked in a half-smile. "We combine our energies, your physical strength, my psionic abilities. Together, we might generate enough power without either of us having to... She trailed off, unable to say the words. Lucas nodded, understanding. "Worth a shot," he grinned. "How do we do this?" Taya guided him to the control panel. "Place your hands here," she instructed. "Focus your energy, like you're about to make the biggest jump of your life." Lucas complied, closing his eyes. He felt Taya's presence beside him, her energy intertwining with his own. It was like nothing he'd ever experienced, a rush of power that made his enhanced abilities seem trivial in comparison. The portal hummed to life, the vortex expanding and stabilizing. Lucas gritted his teeth against the drain on his strength. Beside him, Taya gasped in pain. "Just a little more," she ground out. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the plaza. Lucas's eyes snapped open to see guard ships descending, weapons blazing. "Go!" he shouted to Taya. "I'll hold them off." But Taya's hand gripped his with surprising strength. "Together," she insisted. "Or not at all." Lucas nodded, a fierce joy blooming in his chest despite the danger. They turned to face the oncoming guards, their energies still linked through the portal. What followed was a battle unlike anything Lucas had ever experienced. He moved with impossible speed and strength, every punch and kick amplified by Taya's psionic energy. Beside him, Taya was a whirlwind of deadly grace, her powers sending guards flying without even touching them. They fought back to back, an unstoppable duo. Lucas lost himself in the rhythm of combat, marveling at how seamlessly he and Taya worked together. It was as if they'd been partners for years, not mere days. As the last guard fell, Lucas became aware of a change in the portal's energy. The vortex pulsed and swirled, beckoning them. "It's now or never," Taya shouted over the din. "Are you ready?" Lucas met her gaze, seeing his own mix of fear and excitement mirrored there. He grinned, wild and free. "Born ready, gorgeous. Let's blow this popsicle stand." Hand in hand, they leapt into the swirling vortex. Lucas felt a moment of searing pain, as if every atom of his body was being torn apart and reassembled. Then, silence. Lucas opened his eyes, blinking against unfamiliar sunlight. They stood on a grassy hillside, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of flowers. In the distance, a city of gleaming spires rose against a pastel sky. We did it," he breathed, scarcely daring to believe it. Taya's laughter, pure and joyous, rang out. She threw her arms around him, and Lucas caught her, spinning them both in a dizzying circle. As their laughter subsided, Lucas became acutely aware of Taya's body pressed against his. Her emerald skin seemed to glow in the sunlight, her eyes sparkling with an emotion he was only now allowing himself to name. "So," he said, his voice rough with feeling. "What now? Most dangerous woman in the galaxy?" Taya's smile was radiant. "Now, my extraordinary human, we live." Their lips met in a kiss that held the promise of 1,000 new adventures. As they broke apart, both slightly breathless, Lucas couldn't help but chuckle. "You know," he mused, "for all your dangerous reputation, you're not so scary after all." Taya's eyes glinted with mischief. "Oh, I wouldn't say that. I can be very dangerous." Her hand trailed down his chest, leaving a trail of fire in its wake. Lucas shivered, a grin spreading across his face. "Is that a challenge?" "Perhaps," Taya purred. "Think you can handle it?" "Bring it on, green goddess," Lucas laughed, pulling her close. "I've got a lifetime to find out." As they made their way toward the distant city and whatever new life awaited them, Lucas felt a lightness he'd never known before. The weight of survival, of constant vigilance, had lifted. For the first time in 15 years, he was truly free. And with Taya by his side, he knew that whatever challenges the universe threw at them, they'd face them together. The most dangerous woman in the galaxy, and the extraordinary human who'd stolen her heart. Let the adventure begin. Months passed in a blur of discovery and joy. Lucas and Taya found a home on the outskirts of the gleaming city, a place where they could enjoy the peace they'd fought so hard to win while still indulging their taste for excitement. Lucas marveled at the simplest things, the feel of rain on his face, the taste of fresh food, the luxury of a soft bed. Taya was endlessly fascinated by his reactions, seeing her new world through his wonder-filled eyes. They built a life together, navigating the complexities of their vastly different backgrounds. There were cultural misunderstandings, moments of frustration, and no shortage of laughter as they learned each other's ways. One balmy evening, as they sat on the porch of their home watching twin moons rise, Taya turned to Lucas with an uncharacteristically hesitant expression. "Lucas," she began, her voice soft, "there's something I need to tell you." He raised an eyebrow, concern creeping into his voice. "Everything okay?" Taya nodded, a small smile playing at her lips. "More than okay, I think. I'm... we're..." She took a deep breath. "I'm pregnant." Lucas blinked, his mind struggling to process her words. "But I thought your people didn't..." "How?" Taya laughed, the sound full of joy and wonder. "It seems the combination of our unique physiologies has resulted in something unprecedented. Our child will be the first of its kind, half human, half my species." Lucas's face split into a grin so wide it almost hurt. He gathered Taya into his arms, peppering her face with kisses. "We're going to be parents," he marveled. "Holy shit, we're going to be parents." As the news sank in, a flicker of doubt crossed his face. "Wait, are you sure about this? I mean, I don't exactly have the best example to follow when it comes to fatherhood." Taya's hand cupped his cheek, her eyes shining with love and conviction. "You, Lucas, are the bravest, kindest, most extraordinary being I've ever known. Our child will be lucky to have you as a father." Lucas leaned into her touch, his throat tight with emotion. "We're really doing this, huh? A family. Us." "Indeed we are," Taya smiled. "Though I must warn you, if our child inherits even half of our combined troublemaking abilities, the galaxy may not be ready." Lucas threw back his head and laughed. "Bring it on. Between the most dangerous woman in the galaxy and the guy who survived Earth's prison planet, I'd say we can handle anything." As they sat there, wrapped in each other's arms and dreaming of the future, Lucas felt a sense of peace he'd never known before. He'd found more than just freedom. He'd found a home, a purpose, a love he never thought possible. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever new adventures awaited them, he knew one thing for certain. Together, they were unstoppable. The end and the beginning. Well, dear listeners, you've made it to the end of our cosmic roller coaster. If you're still with us and haven't been sucked into a black hole of confusion, congratulations. You've just witnessed the love story of the millennium. Move over, Han and Leia. There's a new power couple in the galaxy. We hope you enjoyed this tale of prison breaks, alien romance, and interspecies family planning. If Lucas and Taya's adventures made you question your own dating life, don't worry. Not everyone can hook up with the most dangerous being in the galaxy. Some of us have to settle for swiping right on slightly less lethal partners. A big thank you to all our listeners who stuck with us through thick and thin, through wormholes and wastelands. Your support means more to us than a Vulcan means logic, more than a Wookiee means loyalty, more than a Dalek means extermination. Okay, maybe not that last one. Special shout out to the sci-fi legends who paved the way for stories like ours. Without Star Trek teaching us that green can be sexy, or Firefly showing us the appeal of roguish charm, who knows where we'd be? Probably still thinking the most dangerous thing in the universe was a tribble with a bad attitude. And let's not forget our nod to The Fifth Element, because who doesn't love a story where love saves the universe? Though in our case it's less big bada boom and more big genetic boom. So as we bid farewell to Lucas and Taya, we leave you with this final thought. In a universe full of dangers, the greatest risk of all is not taking a chance on love, even if that love comes with green skin and a galactic-level rap sheet. May your own adventures be as thrilling, your romances as unexpected, and your futures as bright as a supernova. And remember, in the immortal words of Douglas Adams, don't panic. Unless you're facing the most dangerous woman in the galaxy, then a little panic might be justified. Thank you for listening, and may the Force and a good sense of humor be with you always.